So there's several factors you can look at on a person to really tell the health of that individual. One of which is the color of their tongue. If it's patchy, is it white? If the clarity of their skin, is it very pimply and splotchy? Is there eczema? Are they having hair thinning? Do they have like a lack of elasticity in their skin? These things can kind of tell you the health of an individual. But I wanted to focus on hair and hair thinning because if you figure that out, you're kind of figuring out everything else as well. Because that's usually beauty, you know. So if a man sees a woman that has beautiful hair and nails, they are going to think that woman is fertile. They have high mineral sufficiency. So you can look at this in the same way as I did with the fast. So if I'm going to deprive state, if I'm going into survival state, which is starvation, fasting, my body's taking minerals from my bones and distributing it to my vital organs to kind of suffice for the length of the fast and keep me alive and thrive. So if you're not fasting, what's going to happen is that you should be thriving. You should be having sufficient mineral intake. You should be making sure that your bones are strong. Because if your bones are satiated, if your body's able to mineralize your bones, then it can actually distribute it to your hair and your nails. Your nails become strong and your hair becomes strong and it won't fall out. One of the culprits that people don't talk about is the mucus. So there's mucus in the body. 90% of people have allergies or these bacteria that feed on these high sugar diets. Yes, some can feed on fruits. I didn't believe it myself, but some do, not all. But if you're having like grains and like processed foods and processed oils, these bacteria love it. So it's not really your personality, it's the bacteria that's craving these things, and that produces a histamine reaction. And this inflammation has to find some place to settle. If your body can't purge it in your sleep, through your sweat or your urine, it's going to settle in your skin and your organs. And so it can settle in your lungs and creates an asthmatic effect, or it can settle on the top of your head by evading your immune system and kind of settling where circulation is compromised. And so what ends up happening is that person will start experiencing dandruff. Dandruff is just solidified mucus, and that mucus was hijacked lymph. It's parasitic bacteria that's evading your immune system. A lot of people don't define it this way, and it's time that we start doing that. So how do you kind of combat that? You must understand that you need to understand the bacteria profile in your body, the parasites. I kind of say parasite is like an overall umbrella term for anything that's not necessarily favorable. Yes, you can have favorable parasites, I understand. But the thing is, I might as well choose the parasites that I want. I don't want terrorists on board. I want things that are efficiently cohabitating. So one of the things you can do is you can fast one time a week to clean the blood. So, you need to clean the blood to have circulation be efficient. So if circulation is efficient, that means it's reaching your fingertips, your toes, and your headspace. That means your body can actually distribute the minerals to these areas. So if you clean the blood through like a 1-day fast each week, you can clean the blood through an iodine protocol. I love iodine. You clean water with it when you're camping for just the cleanliness of the water, so there's no fungus or bacteria in the water before you ingest it. Same thing happens with the body. You systemically distribute it so that it can contact with the mucus, and your body drags it out through the lymph, through your sweat, through your breathing and your urine. The next thing you can do is have a high mineral intake diet. So that's probably the most important thing alongside the fasting, is you need to be sufficient in minerals. If you're deficient, you're going to experience some of these effects of a bad diet. So anybody who's on a bad diet, they get made fun of because they're experiencing hair loss or bad dental or like issues, but it's just because they're choosing foods that are feeding the parasites, but also being deficient in the minerals. So if you're sufficient in minerals, if you're in a mineral surplus state, your bones are going to be completely fortified and strong, and now your body can distribute it to your extremities and your hair, and it can focus more on beauty. You see what I'm saying here? So if you're doing that, I think that you can focus on blackstrap molasses, which is more sugary. I would kind of go for more so like barley grass powder every single day, and like a green tea. There's a reason why Japanese people live the longest, because they are drinking green tea. They're having minerals and a blood cleansing purifier that is this natural high quality tea. And I would also, if you're into meats are a very dense version of getting minerals, the best one being the liver. If you're more into raw vegan, make sure you're getting produce that's not genetically modified, because an orange is 10 times less sufficient in minerals than it was 100 years ago. So think about that. So you need to eat 10 oranges for what one would do for you 100 years ago. So you need to find farm-grown vegetables on good soil. So if you think about a tree and a human have one thing in common, the tree will actually get less chlorophyll in the leaves, which is, lose its color to the leaves, when it is not getting sufficient soil. The soil is not getting enrichment from like different cultures. And the best thing you can do, ironically, is giving it blackstrap molasses. You know, blackstrap molasses on the soil makes the leaves and the trunk, everything fortified. So that means that tree's getting minerals and the body should be getting minerals to feed the hair and the nails. Okay, and the next thing you can do is doing saunas. So saunas, you can also use the fingertips to massage the scalp. So it's kind of metastasizing the stagnant lymph that can solidify and create a suffocation effect for your hair to not protrude the scalp, you know. So now it's closing up. The hair pore is follicles closing up, so it's not going to be able to grow a tree. You know, if you look at the hair under a microscope, it looks like a tree. And the next thing you can do is an niacinamide, which is a more aggressive approach. It's a vitamin B flush, and I do about 500 milligrams, but I would only recommend doing like 200 to start. And that's going to like metastasize the lymph that's kind of resilient. It's not kind of budging from the iodine and the short fasts. And that can be good for people who have back pimples and certain like pathogens that are just not budging in certain areas. And that's kind of like a last ditch like secret weapon. The next thing you can do is inversions, so like doing handstands where you just get upside down to allow the circulation to get to the headspace. That's why all these YouTubers and Instagram people are doing headstands, because it's just like a very healthy thing you do to prevent some aneurysms later on in life too, because you're kind of like unkinking the clotting in your neurological area too, so to prevent, you know, any internal bleeding occurring when you're older as well. You can accomplish this with exercise as well. And the last thing you can do is doing electrolytes. So with electrolytes, you have potassium. Potassium is the vehicle to distribute the blood and oxygen to your extremities. Because if you don't have electrolytes, there's no electricity to your body to kind of carry a current. You know, current is the operative word because it's like a current distributing the minerals and the oxygen to these areas. There's a reason why triathletes and marathon runners have to have electrolytes, because they are doing the most hardcore physical activity you can do. And the next beneficial thing you can do is staying away from substances that produce cortisol. So coffee is one of those things that is acidic but also produces cortisol. Yes, I know it gives you energy and you can't go to work without it, but if you care about the beauty, the hair and the nails, it's going to strip minerals from the bones and the hair, and you can have fractures in the bones. That's why a lot of people, I think, who drink coffee get premature balding, because they're producing cortisol. It's the same exact hormone you produce when you're stressed. So coffee obviously it's not giving you the sugars, it's not giving you fats. So where's your energy source coming from? It's coming from the production of the hormone. So it's tricking your body into thinking it's not tired. And last but not least, you're going to apply something topically on the headspace. I like rosemary oil, nettle, and aloe to massage into the headspace once or twice a week. So you're repossessing the lymph on the top of your head, so there's no more dandruff that can occur. The dandruff, like I said, is the stagnant mucus that's flaking off, the parasitic mucus. So if you do that, you should be good, and it won't suffocate. You know, there's no longer any mucus to suffocate your hair follicles from actually protruding and actually growing once again.